Hello. I wanted to take this opportunity to provide you an overview of the assignments and an overview of our course to follow up our welcome video. In this class, you'll essentially be learning about the language of people from birth through adulthood. We'll look at both typical and atypical development. You'll also learn about theory, practice, and analysis of language by completing several assignments. In our distance world, all assignments and discussion postings for the week are due at the end of each week. One of our first assignments, which happens to be due week 4, is the oral language calendar. Here you will create a calendar for use within a classroom or for students to take home and use with their parents to develop their oral language skills. Students need to be talking each day within each activity. You'll take a look at the rubric for more specifics on this assignment, as well as samples that are posted in Blackboard. So, it may be a little difficult to read here, but you have this in larger print within your Blackboard course. So please make sure that you take a look at the rubric in the course. Another assignment is the theory reflection paper. This assignment asks you to research a current topic in the field of language development by finding an article in the library. You'll write a summary of the article and analyze its relationship to the theories presented in this class. You'll also be including your reflections and thoughts as a result of reading the article. Again, you'll have a rubric to guide you. Now, this is not due until week 5 because you need to have done some reading in the course before you can choose an article that will be appropriate. And again, the rubric as to how you will be graded. And finally, we've touched on this in our welcome video, and in week 1 we talk about it a bit more, but here you must choose a preschool age child to work with. You'll tape record a sampling of the child engaged in conversation of at least 100 utterances. This is very important, that number, because you need to have enough language to analyze. You'll be transposing this taped sample into written form, indicating the speakers in the speech. Then we'll be analyzing the child's utterances for content, form, and use, and placing that child on a continuum so we can see their strengths and their weaknesses compared to developmental norms. You'll be coming up with specific activities to address those areas. You'll also be giving examples of typical and atypical development and discuss ways that certain exceptional conditions might interact with an individual's experience. You will have plenty of samples in Blackboard to guide you. Again, the rubric is lengthy, so I won't go into that in great detail. I'll let you explore that on Blackboard. Additionally, you have discussion postings, and this was mentioned before, but it's worth mentioning again. You must post weekly. Minimally, you will have 14 postings plus an introduction. Your postings have to be of high quality to earn full credit and meet the criteria specified in the rubrics. And again, you'll see the rubric online more clearly. So, before you go off to do your reading for this week, just take a minute and think about your beliefs. Do you believe that languages are learned in the same order and learners progress through common stages of development when learning language? Do you believe that there is a storehouse in the brain that controls all language functions? Do you believe that speech, language, and communication are interchangeable words? When learning language, do children learn best from a systematic, explicit program? Do learners of second and additional languages proceed through the same stages as first language learners? Well, if you're not sure of these items now, you should be a little more certain after doing some reading and exploration. Communication. Our basic definition is that of sending and receiving information, ideas, feelings, and messages. Can you make a list of as many ways as you can think of that people do communicate? Well, once you've made that list, click again and see how you did. Did you come up with more than just speech in the written word? Notice there are so many different ways that still are forms of communication. Language. Language exists in the mind, whether it's expressed or not. All languages share some common structural rules. A system of abstract symbols and rules govern instruction, the specifics of which are learned. And language is constantly evolving. Language does have a set of socially shared rules when it comes to meaning, when it comes to making new words, when we look at syntax and situation. Speech is the oral expression of language, and we have three things that are included: articulation, voice, and fluency. And we'll be looking at all those things when we take our sample. The components of language. We have receptive language, expressive language, and then we take a look at the various speech disorders. Does the difficulty lie in pronunciation, or fluency, or articulation? Another reminder, if you haven't visited PADLET yet, here's your opportunity. And another invitation to follow me at Scoop. So week 1, can you define speech, communication, and language? By next week, make sure you have the child for your sample. Begin to research Brown's stages. Begin to work on your calendar. Post to the discussion board, and of course, have some fun with Padlet.